Hi, welcome to North of 48. It's a little bit disappointing today, the news on how Donald Trump is treating Ukraine, and he's had a phone call with Putin. The news that Donald Trump is reportedly negotiating with Vladimir Putin without Ukraine's involvement, it's deeply disappointing for Kiev. It signals yet another instance where Ukraine's fate is being discussed without its direct participation, a painful echo of history. At a time when Ukraine is fighting for its survival and sovereignty, any backroom deals that exclude Ukrainian voices undermine its struggle and emboldens Russian aggression. For Ukraine, such negotiations are not just frustrating, but dangerously dismissive of the sacrifices it has made and continues to make in defense of democracy and territorial integrity. If you like Ukraine, if you watch this for the last 3 years in the war, yes, it should be over. Is Donald Trump making this 4D chess move? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. At the same time, should Europe have ponied up for some more military assistance? Yes, they should, and some more money towards it. Donald Trump has made it clear that he's going to let Europe defend Europe. At the same time, perhaps his eyes are on China or Saudi Arabia, but the whole world's topsy-turvy, and it's a bit of a mess. I'm not so sure a friend would let another friend go into a fight alone. We're not. This thing is, we don't know how to trust Trump and his minions. In Canada here, I mean, he wants to make us the 51st state. How do you react to that? How is the USA going to have some friends? Like, for whatever good Trump is doing or trying to force other countries to do, I think it's in spite of, not because of his actions. It'll be in spite of his actions. People are learning, well, we can't trust this fellow. And that's unfortunate. Let's look at a little video.
View Ukraine as an equal member of this peace process?
It's an interesting question.
So that's a good question. Can Ukraine come to the table or not? Oh, that's a good question. So I think Trump has more... he's anticipating talking to his good buddy Vladimir more than keeping Ukraine's interest at heart. Hey, wait, there's more.
I think they have to make peace. Their people are being killed, and I think they have to make peace. I said that was not a good war to go into.
Well, I would agree, not a good war to go into or get into, but I'm not sure Ukraine had a choice here. I mean, remember though, it was 3 days and Russia was going to come in and clean house, and Ukraine's been holding them off for 3 years. Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary for the United States, had a few words. Let's listen to that.
We must start by recognizing that returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an unrealistic objective.
Measures that will likely be welcomed by Putin, prompting questions about whether Trump is giving up his leverage to negotiate with Russia.
Speaking in unusually blunt terms, the German defense minister accusing the Trump administration of making concessions to Putin before these peace negotiations have even begun.
Now, good old Pete made those comments yesterday, and today he walked them back, saying that it would be under President Trump's decision whether Ukraine can come into NATO or whatever deal there is. Trump today at his press conference said that he didn't think Russia would like the fact that Ukraine was in NATO, and he doesn't know if that would be a good idea. So can a deal be worked out in Ukraine's best interest with what's going on? Well, a deal that truly serves Ukraine's best interests would have to meet several key conditions. Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity any agreement must respect Ukraine's recognized borders, meaning Russia withdraws from occupied territories, including Crimea and Donbass. Security guarantees. Ukraine needs ironclad security assurances to prevent future Russian aggression. This could mean NATO membership or strong defense commitments from Western allies. Right now, it appears NATO's off the board, but would need strong defense commitments from the Western allies. Justice and accountability is what they're also looking for, is war crimes and destruction caused by Russia must be addressed with reparations and legal consequences for those responsible. And I would also put in that the children of the Ukraine that were brought into Russia should be sent back to Ukraine. No deal should be made without Ukraine's full participation. Decisions about Ukraine cannot be made over its head. Unfortunately, if negotiations are happening behind closed doors between Trump and Putin, Ukraine's interests might not be a priority. The best outcome for Ukraine would be a deal that strengthens its independence and security, not one that forces concessions to Russia for the sake of a quick resolution.
Today, the main thing is that everything does not go according to Putin's plan. He wants to do everything so that he has bilateral talks with the United States of America. We cannot accept, as an independent country, any agreement made without us.
That was President Vladimir Zelensky saying that any decision has to be made with Ukraine, not without them.
Russia said on Thursday that Ukraine would be involved in talks to end the war, but that there would be a separate US-Russian strand to negotiations. A day after the American Secretary of State, Pete Hegseth, appeared to make concessions to Moscow, saying it was unrealistic for Kyiv to expect to recover lost territory or join the NATO alliance. At a NATO meeting in Brussels, European defense chiefs stressed that Ukraine and Europe must not be cut out of any negotiations.
To make sure that Putin understands that the West is united, that Ukraine is getting all the support it needs to prevail.
After announcing ahead of the meeting that Europe's security was no longer a primary focus for the United States, Hegseth doubled down, saying European countries need to do more to defend themselves.
President Eisenhower was one of NATO's strongest supporters. He believed in a strong relationship with Europe. Even he was concerned that Europe was not shouldering enough of its own defense, nearly making, in Eisenhower's words, quote, a sucker out of Uncle Sam. President Trump will not allow anyone to turn Uncle Sam into Uncle Sucker.
The United States has underpinned European security through NATO over the past 7 decades. Alarm bells are now ringing in Europe that the future of the military alliance itself may be in question.
So after that, Defense Secretary of the European Union, John Healey, spoke out after the Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting, highlighting the contribution of European nations, and that last year the contribution from Europe was 58% of the military aid to Ukraine. Now the USA has set themselves up as having the first, second, and fourth largest army in the world, and they have a lot of munitions and a lot of munition factories as a result to keep it going. I'm wondering what Trump is thinking, because, well, I don't care what he's thinking, but I do care that Europe do step up. I think Ukraine is holding the Russians at bay. If there was going to be a peaceful solution, it would have happened. There never would have been an invasion, right? For some reason, Putin thought, okay, here we go. Now, he's the bully in this. He's the one who invaded. Just watching Zelensky in action, I was pretty sure anyways, and a lot of other people were, that Zelensky wanted a deal, and I think he was prepared to give up some parts of the Donbass, or at least the Crimea. But, so what's the worst case scenario for Ukraine with the Trump team Well, it would be forced territorial concessions if Ukraine is pressured to give up Crimea, Donbass, or other occupied regions. Putin wants 4 regions, of 2 or 3 of which he only partially controls with his army. It would set a dangerous precedent, don't you think, regarding Russia's aggression and encouraging future land grabs, aka Greenland, Panama, Canada. Just saying. The second worst thing that could happen out of this deal is no security guarantees. If Ukraine is left without NATO membership or a strong defense commitments, Russia could simply rearm and invade again later, as it did after 2014. A weakening of Western support. If a deal leads to the US or Europe reducing military and economic aid to Ukraine, it would cripple its ability to defend itself and rebuild. Mind you, Ukraine is doing a good job of getting their munitions and drone factories running. They're doing a great job. They're trying to sustain by themselves. Fourth thing that might happen on a bad deal is you're legitimizing Putin's regime. If sanctions are lifted or Russia is welcomed back into the international institutions without real accountability, it would embolden Putin and whoever comes after him and show that brute force works. One of the worst things that could happen is a divided Ukraine. A deal that enforces a frozen conflict or leaves Ukraine politically fractured, like a neutrality agreement dictated by Russia, could destabilize the country from within. A bad peace would not only harm Ukraine, but it would also weaken global security, proving that aggressive wars can succeed. Ukraine's worst-case scenario is a deal that prioritizes political expediency over justice and long-term stability. Stability. I guess like the rest of us, we're going to wait and see. Like, I've been watching a lot of documentaries and, of course, YouTube videos. There's a whole bunch of good ones. Professor Tom Wilson has, Professor Geddes has, Jake Bro has, Ukraine Matters, Georgie has, Starsky's channel. And I think I'm going to try to wrap up. I'm going to do a video and show you the ones that I do look at. Vlad Vexler as well. I'd like to thank where I got the video and the audio from was ABC, CNN, and France 24. And getting some good reporting for a change. This has really shocked everybody, and I think maybe if you're watching this, you might be shocked too. Or, or you could be a Russian stooge and gloating. I don't like to see bad things get rewarded, and I don't think you do either. We have a whole bunch of turmoil going on right now. I'd like to believe that Trump is playing 4D chess or that he has a plan. I don't think there's a plan. I think that's what worries me. With the U.S., through the years with the people that they've had in office and stuff, you can never be quite sure what they're planning. What I want for the kids and the grandkids is I'd like a stable world, a stable society. I'd like us to grow as human beings and hopefully to get smarter. That's my hope. And my other hope is that I hope Ukraine can come out of this not as damaged as it appears things are getting. I hope there's a win here. I really do. And you have yourself a good one. We shall talk to you tomorrow. Bye.